you so much. I don't know how you'd sort of take that up. I'm going to try in my talk. I hope many of you were not forced to be here by your teacher. Either that or the faculty's getting really young. Let me just sort of thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. I appreciate it. Thanks to thank Joyce, Emily and Johnston, wherever you are. Thank you. And Megan Gaddis for just doing all the coordinating work to help me come here. Thank you, Ryan, for all the technology help. You all, as I have come to learn really dramatically today, you all have a very innovative, cutting-edge writing program. I've never seen a program that so fully embraces and is steeped in scholarship and has the courage to try to put it into practice when you don't have a lot of paths that have been cleared ahead of you. But in the conversations I've had today, I've come to see how when you have this kind of a innovative program, it encourages a culture of creativity. People are thinking in all kinds of very interesting ways about how to teach students to write in ways that will be useful to them for a long time after they take the writing class. Thank you to Chris DeSantis and the English department for making this, supporting this trip and making it possible. It is a little surreal to be here with Chris because we were in graduate school together. In fact, starting out, and so we did pretty good, I would say. Okay, so I'm really honored to be here. Thank you. A few months ago, I was invited to give a lecture on genre approaches to teaching writing. And for that, I submitted a typical abstract. I had been thinking for a long time, and I have been thinking for a long time about how to teach genres in ways that exceed the teaching of conventions only. So I've been thinking about how do you teach genre in a performative kind of way. So I submitted an abstract which tried to sort of describe my then current thinking about genre pedagogy in relationship to uptake. And I submitted a typical abstract. And a week later, I received a flyer announcing my lecture. And it's like that. Now, the flyer, as you can see, contained a series of variously sized boxes, which contained my title, my name, the location for the talk, and so on. In between these boxes, there were outlines of human figures that were engaged in various kinds of, sorry, can you all hear me if I'm over here? Okay. That were engaged in various kinds of acts of pushing and bouncing within the boxes. Okay. So here I thought is genre uptake in action. Not only does the poster take up my abstract in another genre, and thereby contribute to the series of coordinated acts that brought me and the audience together. Okay, that's why sort of genre uptakes work to produce certain expected results. So not only that, but the poster itself, I thought, represented, it performed the representation of uptake. I was taken by these human figures performing acts of uptake within genre constraints, especially the way these uptakes depict individuals pushing against boundaries and performing gymnastic-like improvisations, I sort of read it that way, within them. I was also taken by the short squiggly lines, you know these here, around the figures, denoting points and degrees of energy that propel uptake performances. Now, while I expected a poster uptake of some kind from my abstract, I did not expect this uptake. What happens in the uptakes between genres, such as between an abstract and a flyer, poster, and the forces that these uptakes are subject to is the focus of my talk tonight. What I'm trying to say is my talk is about these squiggly lines. That's it, but this is it. I think this is uptake. And I'm going to try to show you that squiggly lines can be interesting. What happens in between genres has not been studied or understood enough, in my view, within rhetorical genre studies. More attention has been paid to genres themselves as social artifacts that can tell us things about how and why individuals perform typified actions in recurring situations, about how genres mediate social actions and function as sites of power, about how the explicit teaching of genre conventions can help students gain access to various systems of activity, about how genres relate to one another within in the coordination of social activities, and about how genres help construct and reproduce the situations that call for them. As Charles Baseman has said in his oft-quoted description of genre, genres are not just forms, genres are forms of life, ways of being. They are frames for social action. They are environments for learning. They are locations within which meaning is constructed. Genres shape the thoughts we form and the communications by which we interact. Genres are the familiar places we go to create intelligible communicative action with each other and the guideposts we use to explore the unfamiliar. As these metaphors suggest, genres have become understood as symbolic, interconnected worlds we inhabit for the construction and exchange of meaning and actions, habits and habitats of perceiving and acting. Genres help us recognize situations as requiring certain responses, so they have a phenomenological quality, and they help provide the typified rhetorical and linguistic strategies we use to act within them, which makes them so interesting. They shape our encounters and provide us with the tools to engage relatively predictably within those. There's a risk, however, that the ways we talk about genres can objectify them too much. Genres, it must be remembered, are not objects. Genres, rather, are typifications, potentialities, performance cues, what Baseman has called social recognition phenomena, and what Thomas Beebe has called use values that orient our apprehension and exchange of texts. So while we know a lot more about what genres are and how genres relate to one another in complex ways, we do not know as much about the complex performances that take place in between and around genres, squiggly lines. By drawing our attention to the extra-textual factors that inform genre performances, Uptake challenges us to consider history, materiality, embodiment, emotion, and other adjunctive factors that genre studies has tended to overlook in its focus on genres as objects, artifacts, sites, and even mediational tools.